Have you ever felt like you're just spinning your wheels at work? Well, today, we're going to look at productivity through a totally different lens: physics. We're going to explore how to stop just pushing harder and start creating some real, actual leverage.
So does this feel familiar? I mean, everyone on your team is incredibly busy, right? The activity level is just through the roof, but the needle isn't really moving. You're all putting in this enormous effort, but the impact? It just doesn't seem to match up. It's a super common problem, and man, is it frustrating.
This quote just nails the paradox, doesn't it? The idea that just throwing more at a problem, more money, more people, more investment, without having the right structure, well, it doesn't just fail to help, it can actually make things worse. It creates chaos, friction, and noise.
So what's the big misunderstanding here? What are we getting wrong? Well, a lot of the time, the problem starts with a really basic misunderstanding about what value even is. We tend to treat it like it's this tangible thing, an object we can build and then just hand over. But that's a really flawed way of looking at it.
The thing is, value is relational. It's all about connection. It's like a spark that only ignites in the moment that an offer from one side perfectly meets the needs of the other, when they can actually receive it, use it, and respond to it. That moment of connection, that's where value truly lives.
And for that alignment, that spark, to even happen, you absolutely need these 4 pillars. First, shared language. Do we all agree on what this thing we're talking about even is? Then, shared expectations. Do we agree on what's supposed to happen next? Shared timing. Do we agree on when it's supposed to happen? And finally, and this is a big one, a shared trust threshold. Do we all actually believe this is going to get done? Without these, you're not really collaborating. You're just talking past each other. And this slide just visualizes that idea so powerfully. Look at all that investment, all that activity. Without these pillars of coordination, you're not creating a clear signal of value. You're just amplifying noise, confusion, and a whole lot of wasted energy. The big takeaway here: coordination has to come first. It's non-negotiable.
Okay, so if coordination is the key, how do we build it? How do we get it? This is where we can borrow a really powerful metaphor from physics that can literally transform how you see your organization.
Just think about a simple lever. It's the classic force multiplier, right? A small, carefully applied push can move a massive object. Well, we can design our teams and our projects to work in the exact same way, creating these outsized impacts from really focused effort. Let's break down how that works. First up, you've got the lever arm itself. And in organization, these are your interfaces. Think about things like well-defined APIs, clear protocols for handoffs between teams, or even just really effective meeting structures. Well-designed interfaces are like having a really long lever arm. They let you apply force in one place and have it cleanly create a big effect somewhere else far away. Okay, next, every lever needs a fulcrum, that pivot point. For us, these are your incentives. When your team's incentives are perfectly aligned with the outcomes you actually want, they make sure all that effort is focused on what truly matters. But misaligned incentives? That's like putting the fulcrum in completely the wrong spot. You can push all day long and that rock is not going to budge.
And finally, there's the force you apply. This represents your team's skill, but specifically their skill in navigating trade-offs. You know, just like applying force at the perfect angle on a wrench gives you the most torque, a team that deeply understands what to prioritize and what to let go of can apply their effort with incredible precision for maximum effect.
So the real goal here is to become what you could call a leverage-capable system. This means you're consciously designing your interfaces, your incentives, and your skill development to make sure that for any given amount of effort, you are getting the absolute maximum possible impact.
So we have this great model of the lever, but how do we actually build and fine-tune it in the real world with all its messiness? Well, this brings us to the really crucial idea of calibration. Calibration is really the art of taking all that raw energy coming into your system, you know, the demands, the challenges, the deadlines, let's call it stress, and skillfully tuning your organization's internal parts to transform that stress into focused, coherent leverage.
And let's be really clear on these terms. Stress isn't necessarily a bad thing. It's the input, it's the raw material, it's the pressure that forces us to adapt and grow. Leverage, on the other hand, is the desired outcome, those powerful, focused results that you produce by skillfully managing that stress. The goal is transformation, not elimination.
So, what are we actually tuning?
What are the knobs we can turn? This table gives us the roadmap. We tune our degrees of freedom to turn raw resources into powerful new capabilities. We tune our system to turn all those unpredictable what-ifs, the contingencies, into manageable constraints. And by carefully managing consequences, we build our overall capacity. This is the real hands-on work of building leverage.
Now, this is where it gets really, really exciting, because getting this right doesn't just give you a one-time boost, it actually creates a system that continuously improves itself.
This is the magic of compounding. Every time you improve one part of your leverage system, say you clarify an interface or align an incentive, you aren't just adding a piece to the puzzle. You're making every other piece in the system more effective. The gains are multiplicative, not just additive, and that's a huge difference.
And what this creates is this powerful, self-reinforcing upward spiral. As you get better at seeing patterns, you find those leverage points faster. That leads to smarter resource allocation, which in turn increases your capacity for coordination. With more capacity, you can take on more complex, higher-value problems. And when you succeed there, that brings in more resources, which you can then reinvest back into the system, starting the whole cycle over again, but from a much higher level.
So you see, we're not talking about small incremental wins here. We're talking about building a system that is designed from the ground up for exponential gain. You are building an engine for creating value, not just checking off a series of one-off projects.
And that brings us to the final and most important question. Thinking about your own work, your team, your organization, right now, what is the one small, precise push you could make? Which interface could you clarify? Or which incentive could you align that would create the biggest possible impact? Where is your lever?